what's going on, everybody? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor. I want to do a little series on my YouTube page about criminogenic factors so that people can kind of get a better understanding of what criminogenics is in parallel with substance abuse. So for those that have subscribed to my YouTube page, you will start seeing some of my commentaries of like intervention shows and other types of media entities where I can truly explain what criminogenic factors look like in the line of substance abuse. So that's just a major thing for me to do for my population so that they can understand exactly what criminogenics is and how it works. So the lesson today that I'm going to talk about is empathy. A lot of people get it mixed up with sympathy, but sympathy is you kind of have compassion for someone that's going through something. But empathy is more of you went through it, so you kind of embrace what the person is going through. So the lack of empathy within substance use is a major aspect of the criminogenic mindset. Talking about the maladaptive behaviors that you have created in your life. And when I say maladaptive, we look at the MAL as being bad, and adapted is whenever things that you have adapted in a bad situation. So whenever you look at substance use issues, most of those behaviors have been maladaptive because they've been added to you because you have been in a bad place in your life. A lot of times parents and family members get really, really upset with an addict because of the type of things that they go through. Like, for instance, stealing your money, maybe lying to you, maybe being deceitful, maybe manipulation, whatever it is that the person is doing, it is a maladaptive behavior. And empathy is one of those things where when you are living in the streets and you are selling drugs and you are using drugs, there is a sense of lack of empathy that will keep you from ultimately getting killed or being hurt. So let's say like somebody is going to buy some drugs or somewhere in the street life. What ends up happening is if somebody comes in and let's say you're going to do a deal and then somebody gets into a fight or something bad happens to someone, what ultimately happens is they just kind of turn their eye and then they go directly into doing whatever they're doing in their world. Because what happens is empathy starts to cause you to be vulnerable. And whenever you are in an addicted mindset, you don't want to be vulnerable. You're trying to stay one step ahead of the curve. You're trying to stay one step ahead of whatever the situation is. And so a lot of times people that suffer from substance abuse issues, they're always trying to manipulate. They're always trying to figure out a way to get you out of their life the quickest way. So yes, they will lie to you. Yes, they will be dishonest. Yes, they're going to the grocery store is going to take longer than 20 minutes because they have other things that's going to play out in that life, and all they need is a chance to get away. I remember when I was in my addiction, man, I would do whatever it took to get out. I would set up getting out of my house hours before. So let's say I wanted to go do something. I wanted to do some type of activity. I might set up like, let's say around 1 o'clock, I'll be like, I'll go in the refrigerator. I'll look and see that there's no ground beef. And so I'll say, man, I really want some spaghetti tonight. I really want to, but we don't have any ground beef. I got to go to the store. So next thing you know, you go and you leave to go to the store. That whole situation was nothing but a manipulative situation to get what you want. It's an instant gratification. And when we're in the world of addiction and we are living that mindset, we are constantly looking for ways to get around the system, to constantly figure out a way to manipulate you to get whatever we want from you. And so when it comes to being empathetic, that is a mindset that just is not part of our daily basis. Like we say we care. Like I see people that say, I care about my kids, but you really aren't, because a lot of times some of the things that you're going through, you can tell that your priorities are based on the addiction, which is understandable because of the dependence, because of the tolerance. But the one thing that you're not really understanding is that people are ultimately going through those things with you. And that's the part of an addict that they don't understand, is that everybody's going through it. So if you go to jail, family is ultimately going to jail with you, and mentally. I'm not saying they're doing the time with you, but they have to go through those things. They're writing you letters, they're talking on the phone, they're putting money on the books, they're doing all that other stuff because of your problem. So a lot of times people aren't empathetic and to other people because you're forcing them to live a life that's very dysfunctional. So a lot of the first things that I do when people get into treatment is look at their empathetic mindset and see, I have assessments for that just to make sure that we can truly understand what that mindset really is. And if the person is not empathetic, that's the first things that we need to start working on. Besides honesty, I think honesty is going to be my next one that I'm going to talk about. How honesty is when people lie, it's a belief system and it's created by maladaptive thinking patterns. For those that are really struggling with that empathetic mindset, the first thing you have to do is stop being so selfish. It's all about being self-centered, because once you're self-centered, then you don't really care about other people and what they're going through. The next thing is about priorities. Look at the priorities around you and then see how much people mean to you and then how much situations, and then be empathetic. Be empathetic that your children are struggling. Be empathetic that your family is having to come in and wrap their hands around the whole situation and bail you out. So those are the two mindsets: is look at your priorities, and then second of all, look at the people who are really caring about you and understand that they didn't want to go through this, but they are going through it with you. So be very empathetic in that, and tell people that you're sorry. Tell people that you hate that you have to walk this pattern with me. But the one thing that I will say is don't make a promise. Promises are the one thing that really holds families hostages, because it creates a resentment whenever you keep promising to change, or you keep promising to do things. And if you are in the mindset of empathy, then you'll stop making promises, because you know how bad it hurts whenever you break those. So be a promise keeper when it comes to getting out of the addiction, and be honest as much as possible. But I'm going to go through the mindsets and the maladaptive thinkings that are created through substance abuse. Good to see you guys. Always a pleasure. It's David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor. Until I see you next.